This week, honestly, looked like for me a slow and foundation week. I didn't write much code at all. I barely use AI. Most of my time was filled with morning stand-ups, which last an hour. Our team goes over what everybody does in the group settings, so everybody know what everyone else is doing. We also have stories review, sort of like an internal validation for completing the story, providing it the evidence, and a bit of knowledge sharing for anyone who was not aware or understand how any new steps was implemented. Also, there was the stand-ups, KTs. Yeah, had a KT with a teammate for resiliency automation. This is a new field for me, which I don't really know. I know what the background is, but I don't understand what, as an SRE engineer, would provide for the application team. So it's great for me to get onboarded. This week made me feel like I was behind and wasn't making a huge impact, because the voice came that shouldn't I be coding more or talk with AI more and have it assist my workflow. But as discussed, right, most of the time was spent in morning stand-ups and story reviewing and internal KD sessions, onboarding, meetings for application teams where I listen in, and which eventually I will participate and implement the solution for the application team. But sitting there, I just really had no idea what any of the acronym means or what all the AWS services. Most of them I have really never seen it or used it myself before. So that felt like it was making me behind. But I know that this is sort of setting the foundation. Previously, where if I didn't understand anything at all, but now I'm able to slowly understand the concept for each one of these activity, resiliency automation, building a banner system, the AWS infrastructure, the AWS services needed. The only thing I asked AI really was to walk me through my onboarding stories, ask questions about it, and really learning Lambda functions and going through and breaking down the Lambda functions code, understanding what the entry was, what the trigger, having more background context, which is serverless code that executes and performs in the cloud. So I have some background and I have worked on a couple Lambda functions in my onboarding stories and also in my banner dashboard. I haven't really been able to have much individual focus time, since my time was mostly filled with stand-ups and meetings, which were usually an hour long. I find myself in 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours of meetings each day. And with AI, I know that given my current understanding of the AWS services and for different onboarding to resiliency automation, I couldn't really go in deeply yet because I haven't had one hands-on experience and to implement the solution and implement the code in a real scenario myself yet. Looking back, I don't really think that this is a wasted week, even though I spent majority of my time in meetings and KTs. I recognize that being onboarded to a new team in SRE space, that the onboarding and the meetings are the job. And this kind of foundation context really builds the foundation for me to do well and understand what we're responsible to do, to implement, who is doing what space, who I can reach out to guide me on the direction, and who owns what application, who's the expert in our team, and I can collaborate and kind of pick their brain on that. And these meetings and time and KT spent, I am building these close connections with the teammates. I don't think I typically can get this outcome from AI. I use AI that could help me with understanding Lambda syntaxes and AWS services and how they piece together. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't understand why my team needed to build the Lambda in the first place, or why the architecture is designed this way, and what we're responsible in each of these services and each of these design foundation. I definitely want to go deeper next week. Now that I have all the POCs and connections within my team, I'm familiar with who is going to be able to help me guide my direction and making sure I'm on the right path. And I can, once I have the direction, I use AI to speed up my work while giving me, for me to actually learn the background and for me to grow myself. After thinking it through, I can tell a slow week than a wasted week by how much I'm able to absorb and speak confidently in the new areas that my team does and implements and supports, whereas previously I would have very little knowledge or background. I would understand the term, maybe the umbrella term, or what we typically do, but I don't know in each one of these details until I am really onboarded to the story, or until I have some KT sessions and really seeing it firsthand, breaking it down piece by piece. And once I have this foundation, I feel more confident to begin and produce my individual work without much assistance at all. And I can be more independent after having this exact background. Progress isn't always code. I believe that having a context and foundation is critical to my understanding, and building this slow and steady at a time will only give me more confidence instead of really cramping me and overwhelming me with all the different type of services and the support that we implement as a team. And I still follow the workflow. People give me the direction, AI speed up the work, and I do the actual learning. If your week felt like all you had was meetings and KT sessions and onboarding stories, and you felt behind, you probably weren't. You're building a good foundation, you're absorbing all the context, and this will help you succeed in the long run. Leave a comment below. How do you tell a slow week from a wasted one? And subscribe if real on the job stuff is helpful to you.